In this video, we're going to be talking all things microphones, but microphones not for your audio interface or your Mac or your PC, but microphones for your iPhone or your iPad. So if you're looking to level up the audio quality that you're getting on your mobile device or your iPad, then stick around because this could be the video for you. But if it is your first time here watching a video on Studio Live Today, my name is Pete and this is Studio Live Today, where my goal is to help you create, record and release your best music. And I do that through tips and tricks and tutorial videos just like this one. So if that sounds like your kind of bag, then consider subscribing. So what are we going to do in this one? Well, we're going to go through a few options here, the different options that you have for actually connecting, so the different ways that you can connect up a microphone to your iPhone or your iPad. And then we're going to go through a bunch of different microphones. So we're going to do a little bit of explaining around the technology. I'm going to simplify that down. That's my main goal here. You've probably heard of things like TRRS and TRRS and lightning adapters, USB adapters, and all sorts of other things. So we're going to simplify all of that and give you all the information so that when you walk away today, or you're not walking away, but you know what I mean, you're going to know what you're doing. So that is going to be it. If you are here on the live stream and you have questions about microphones for your iPhone or iPad, drop those in the chat. If you're here on the replay, don't worry, you haven't missed out. You can leave a comment and I will get back to you if you have any questions, any comments, or perhaps you can let us know, what do you use? Are you using a microphone with your iPhone or your iPad right now? And if so, what do you use? I'd love to hear from you about that. So I'll just make sure everything's all set up and we're ready to go here, and we are good to go. So let's jump in and start talking about what we're talking about today, microphones. So there's two basic ways. So as you may know, on your iPhone or your iPad, on your newer iPhones and iPads, there's something missing, and that's a headphone jack. And that's a bit sad because that was one of the most useful things for connecting up microphones, especially at the budget level. But do not fear, because if you have a newer iPhone or iPad, you've probably got something like this, a Lightning to 3.5mm adapter, which means you can turn your Lightning port very quickly and easily back into a what's called a TRRS jack. And we'll talk about what that means in a moment, because it's super important that you understand that before you start plugging stuff in. The question up front that I get from a lot of folks is, do I need a microphone at all? What is wrong with just using the built-in microphone on my iPhone or my iPad? And my answer is nothing. It's actually pretty cool. So if you're saying, oh no, I'd love to record some video or some audio or do something with my phone, but I don't have any money, I don't have a microphone, so I can't do it. No, have no fear. You can just use the built-in mic. In fact, about the first 6 months on this channel, all the videos I shot on an iPhone 4S, in fact, with the built-in microphone. And the microphones have gotten better and better as these things have gotten better over the years. So you don't need to worry about it. If you are just starting out, just start by using a pair of headphones, pair of earbuds, and the actual built-in microphone. However, if you want to start leveling up your audio, that's what we're going to be talking about today. Now, the important thing to think about before you start choosing a microphone is, what are you going to be recording? So is it going to be vocals? Are you going to record acoustic guitar? Is it just your spoken word for your videos, or are you doing voiceovers for videos? That's going to help you determine how far up the quality spectrum you need to go. Whether you can go with one of the less expensive options that we're going to talk about here, like a small lavalier microphone that just plugs in and that you can use, or do you need to go for a full-blown USB audio interface and a Lightning to USB adapter, which we'll talk about at the other end as well. So keep that in mind as well. You don't need to go nuts. Don't go out and spend $300 if all you're going to be doing is recording some spoken word audio. That's going to be a waste of your time and your money. So that's the basis of it. So the two ways, as we mentioned, connecting directly to your headphone jack. Second way is into your Lightning adapter. Now, I know that the newer iPad Pros have a USB-C, which is basically going to be the same sort of thing, but we're going to assume that most people, probably 95% of people, are going to be having a Lightning-based device on your iPhone or your iPad. So that's what we'll be talking to today. So there's two ways basically. You're going in analog. You're plugging directly in either through your headphone jack if you've got an older iPhone, something like the iPhone 6S Plus here, so you can go straight into the headphone jack, or on a newer device, you're needing to use an adapter. Second way is to go in digitally. So we'll be talking about some of the digital options, some of the microphones that plug in directly to your Lightning port as well. And that is going to get you a better quality of sound, because Basically, the analog, what you're doing with a microphone is you're speaking into, like this microphone here, it's analog signal going in, and it has to turn that analog signal into a digital signal. So if you're plugging it directly into your headphone jack, then the phone is having to do all of that processing. It's processing the analog to digital conversion. If you go digitally into the phone, then you're getting a better quality signal into there. So it's actually a digital signal going in there. The analog to digital conversion is being done by the microphone, by the interface. So it's just an additional piece of hardware that's going to make your quality sound better. Alrighty, a quick drinks break and then we'll get into a little bit of, I know, technical stuff, don't worry. It won't be too painful. We'll try and get through it. So let's talk about the technical side of a headphone jack. So we talked about TRRS, which stands for tip, ring sleeve. I know, very informative, educational. Why is that important? Well, there's 4 different connections, basically, that are going into your iPhone or your iPad. You've got your microphone, so you've got your ground, you've got your mic, and then you've got stereo output. So it's got input, output, and a ground in there. Now, you might be thinking, well, what about just a regular headphone jack? Well, that doesn't have the mic, you see. So that's the TRRS. So an additional ring is your microphone input. So all of your iPhones and all of your iPads have a TRRS socket. Well, the ones that do, like this one, have a TRRS socket, which means that if you're plugging a regular microphone in, it ain't going to work. So if you've got a microphone that has a 3.5mm jack, or a question I get from folks is, can't I just get an XLR adapter cable and plug it straight into my phone and then just start recording? Well, no, you can't, because you're plugging a TRS plug into a TRRS jack. However, what you can do is get something like this. So this is a TRS to TRRS adapter. This is from Audio Technica, and this actually comes with one of the microphones I'm going to be talking about today. So what this does is it takes your TRRS jack connection here, and then it adds in a separate microphone input and a separate headphone input. So this is going to help you. If you did want to plug directly in, then you can plug this in here, put your mic into one port, and then put your headphones into the other port, and you'll be able to actually monitor your audio. And in fact, there's a separate standalone device, which I'll just bring up on screen now while we're talking about it, which is this one, which is from Rode. It's the SC4, and it's expensive. Yes, it's like $15 for this, and it doesn't have a headphone jack. So if you, this is for Rode microphones that don't that have a TRS plug, if you want to plug them into your iPhone or your iPad. So we'll be talking a little bit about those as we go through as well, just so that you can understand the difference between TRS and TRRS. But I wanted to put it there right up front. Excuse me. So that's your 3.5mm options. They're cheaper to use, like they're cheaper to buy, they're usually more reliable, they're a simpler kind of interface. You're not using anything that's usually got power, or if it does have power, it's just a small battery power, but they are lower quality. So because of that analog to digital conversion that's happening inside your phone or your iPad, they're going to be lower quality. So when we're talking through the ones that use the jack connection, that's what you need to keep in mind. When we get into our lightning options, these are usually more expensive. So because they're doing all of that conversion, the digital to analog conversion, they're going to be more expensive. They are going to tend to use more power, so they'll use the power from your actual phone. They are better quality though. So because they're plugging directly in, they're sending that direct digital signal, you are going to get a better quality. So things like, that we'll be talking about, just spoiler alert, the Shure MV88, things like this are going to be a much better quality option and get you a better quality sound than an analog connection in there. So that is, as I whack the microphone, the microphone knew I was talking about it. That is the basics of microphones for iPads and iPhones. We are going to dive in and show you some options and talk through some of the different options at different price points in just a moment, but I wanted to sort of lay out the basics for you first up there. So I hope that was useful. Let's jump in and say a quick g'day to the folks that are here live, and then we'll continue on with the second half, where we're going to look at some of these in more detail and continue explaining more about microphones here in iOS. So hello to Aramasay is here, Northern Lyrics is here, Thomas Galwin, hello to you. We've got Purity Mimo, Barry Smith, Llama's here, Kurt Lorenz, Alex Cruz, Hickey Drums, Mike Swaim. All of you folks are here. Thank you for your time here. Now I'll jump back. If you've got any questions, drop them in there. Maybe just put questions or some question marks there, just so that I can pick up on those, and I'll answer any questions as we go. But for now, it is time to actually jump in and start talking turkey and looking at some of these options that we have. So let's start with something for under $30. So this is I alluded to it before, but this is the Audio-Technica ATR 3350 IS omnidirectional condenser lavalier mic with smartphone adapter. Now, the reason I love this microphone, and I don't know why I'm showing it there, because here it is here. The reason I love this microphone is it's powered by just a little cell battery, so it's got phantom power that you can turn on and off there. It's a very small microphone. You can see it here. It's got the little windshield on there. It's got a clip on there as well, so you can clip it on, and it provides really good quality audio. So if you want something, if you're doing videos, so if you're actually just connecting up to record a video, all you need to do is, again, if you've got one of these adapters, you'll need to plug this in first, like that. And then you're going to grab, and this is where they get a bit clunky after a while, because then you need to grab this thing here. You need to grab your adapter, so your TRRS to TRRS. See, I told you that training would come in handy here. And then this is where the microphone will plug into one and the headphones plug into the other. Now, this is important. I didn't mention it up front. I meant to, but some microphones will give you, like this one, will give you the opportunity to monitor your audio. Now, obviously, if you're recording music or if you're doing overdubbing, one track over the top of another track, you're going to need something that you can actually listen back. So if you were recording a guitar part and then you went to record a vocal part, well, if you were using this, you'd be fine, because you just plug in your headphones, you play back the guitar part, and then you record your vocal part over the top. So something important to keep in mind, especially when you're using something, plug it into your lightning port, you don't have any other ports. It's not going to work there. If you're using an older iPhone, you've got those two ports, so you can still monitor your audio. So we'll talk about that as we go through. But this one here, it's a really, you can see it's got a massively long cable. So that's both great and bad. It gets in the way, but when you need it, it's super cool. And there it is, the TRRS plug that goes straight into your adapter there that turns it into a TRRS. So that makes it actually useful, because if you've got a digital SLR or any other sort of camera that does use a TRRS connection as opposed to the TRRS, you can use it for that as well. So that's handy. If you just use it without the adapter, then it's going to be available to use for anything that you plug a regular microphone into. So that's super handy, and that is the Audio-Technica. I'll just bring it back up again quickly. The Audio-Technica ATR 3350 IS, and all the products that I mentioned in this video will be linked in the description below, so you can check those out if you are so inclined. Alrighty, now we'll move on to our next option here, and what we're talking about here is not actually the microphones themselves, but while we are on the topic of things that plug into the 3.5mm jack, I wanted to show another couple of options that you have, because you may have your own microphone, like let's say you've got an Audio-Technica AT2020 like this one, or you've got a Rode NT1A, or you've got something that you want to continue using. Well, you can keep using that by getting an audio interface or a preamp that you can plug in. And this is probably the simplest device of all. This is the iRig Pre. So there's what it looks like there. You can see here that it's got 48 volts of phantom power. You can dial in the gain there. It's small and portable, so you plug your XLR mic in one end, you plug headphones in, and then you plug it directly into your iPhone or your iPad. Again, we're using the 3.5mm jack, so it's making the phone do the analog to digital conversion, so the quality is not going to be outstanding. That's how you'll look when you're singing into it, and there it is. It uses a 9-volt battery. So that is an option that you have there. That is the analog version. You'll see over here that we can go to digital. So there is an iRig Pre HD, which does exactly the same thing, but you guessed it, plugs in via the lightning port. So that is a good option if you just want a very simple interface. And if that looks a bit familiar, if you've been watching the channel lately and you see the box back there, it's basically a cut down version of the iRig HD, the iRig IO HD, which is the one that I've been testing out over the last couple of weeks, which has not only a microphone pre, but has an instrument input and also has a MIDI input as well. So that is another option that you have there, but the analog version there, again, you're spending $40 now, and you're not actually getting a microphone, but you're getting the ability to plug in any microphone of your choosing into your iPhone or your iPad. Speaking of which, what I actually recommend and have recommended for a long time is this little baby here. And this is the Tascam IXZ or IXZ, depending where in the world you're coming from. And here it is. This is the little sucker. Why do I love this? Well, it's basically like the iRig Pre, but it's cheaper. It's only about $34, and it has both an instrument input and an XLR connection. Here you've got phantom power as well. You've got the ability to switch the modes here from instrument to microphone. you've got your volume there for your input as well, and you've got a headphone jack on the back. So again, if you're plugging in directly to your iPhone or your iPad, it just goes in like so. Whoop, like so, just like that. And then you're ready to go. You're good to go. You turn it on, boom, and if you have a battery that works, which I don't, so it runs on two AA batteries. I think I left it on last time I used it, actually, so it needs some new batteries. So it runs on two AA batteries, and you plug everything in. You are good to go. You're off to the races. So whenever anyone comes to me and says, Pete, I'm just starting out in mobile recording, I want something that's going to be reliable, that's going to be affordable, that's going to get me a better sound than what my built-in mic is going to do, this is what I'm going to recommend every time, because again, it's so simple, plug straight in, don't need anything additional to it, doesn't need to worry about power from the device, it just has the power for the phantom power, everything else is there ready to go. So that is my go-to option. And you can see that the reason, by the way, if you're wondering why these are all like ranked 3.5 stars by Amazon, what I'm pointing out to you here is what people don't realize when they go into that. They don't realize that the 3.5mm jack is not your best option. It's not going to get you the cleanest audio signal going into your iPhone or your iPad. So it's a reason that it's $35, and some of the options we're going to look at next are a lot more than $35, and that is because you get what you pay for. Yes. So yeah, don't go in there thinking this is going to give you this pristine, super audio quality. But if you just want to level it up, then yes, it is going to definitely improve that. Sorry, a little bit croaky today. Let's move on, because we're going to now get into, oh no, we're not, this is our last analog device. And again, 3.5 stars because people buy it and they think it's going to solve world hunger or do something amazing. So iRig also make a range of microphones. Yes, this is the iRig mic, as you can see there. It is $59.99, so we're starting to get more expensive. It is a handheld condenser microphone. It does look a bit like a dynamic microphone, but it is a condenser, so it does use phantom power, and it plugs in, so it uses batteries. And if we come down here, there it is in action. There you go. So it plugs in, and you can see there again, it has its own adapter that it comes with. So you can plug headphones in, you can monitor your audio, and you can see this thing's been around a while. It's photo that it's got there is an iPhone 4. So it's been around for a while if it's using an iPhone 4 and a very old iPad to demonstrate it. But yeah, I haven't used this one personally, but by all accounts, and there you go, that's how you'll look singing with it. By all accounts, it does a pretty good job. And I've spoken to people that have been using the iRig mic for a long time, and they're getting pretty good quality sounds out of the iRig mic. So it's another option if you're looking for something simple that's just going to be plug and play and you go. Again, you're using the analog input. So please keep that in mind if you pick this up. I know a lot of people get disappointed because they think the quality is going to just be pristine, and then it's not quite. However, if you do want better quality, and I alluded to this one before, my go-to, and I know I should probably save this for last, but my go-to choice for a portable microphone, and yes, we've jumped up. We've gone from $60 to $150, and there's a reason for that, because we've got the Shure brand in front of it, and this is the MV88. Now, this is a microphone, and I have one here, so let's show it to you up close. So comes in its nice little stylish pouch, which is great because it's sort of a hardened vinyl that's going to go in your kit bag and not cause any trouble. And it comes with its own little pop shield on the front there, so we can slide that one off. And yeah, there it is. It's shiny, right? That's the Shure MV88. It's nice and weighty, which is good. Means that there's a good quality capsule in there. And it's got this adjustable end there. So if you're shooting selfies, like shooting towards yourself or you're shooting away from yourself, it's going to capture good quality audio either way. And yeah, this thing, for the size of it, captures some pretty amazing quality audio. It plugs in via the lightning port. So when you're using it, it's going to look a little bit like this. You're going to plug in to your phone like that, click straight in like that, and then you're good to go. You can do it like that if you're doing like an interview style and you want to be talking like that, or more often than not, you're going to be shooting video with it, and you can actually have it facing out like that. Probably a good point that I did mean to mention right up front is that, if you can use these microphones with any application on your phone. So folks ask me, they're like, oh, can I use a camera app? Can I use, like, if I'm doing Smule karaoke singing? Yeah, so basically once you plug in any other audio, that becomes your audio input and output on your iPhone or your iPad. So yes, the short answer is you can use it for pretty much anything. Some apps get a little bit weird with the audio and maybe won't work perfectly, but in my experience, anything that I run, plug in your new microphone and you're good to go. So let's just take a bit more of a detailed look here at the MV88. So yeah, look, I'm not saying go out there and spend $150 like I did if you're just starting out. This is why we go through the different layers and the different levels, because this is obviously your professional, almost professional, prosumer quality microphone. But yep, you've seen it, but this is all the kit that you get with it, which is all very cool. Nice box. And yeah, it's got a whole bunch of software options. So I didn't really sell it that well, but you can actually adjust the stereo spectrum. So you can see there from the little demo there on the app, you can dial in your gain, you can dial in a bunch of things around. It's got a built-in compressor that you can actually turn on. So when you're recording videos and you're recording audio, it'll actually compress them. Or you can just say, if you're recording audio or music, you can say do it 100% clean. So lots of options there, and a good quality option if you, again, have $150 to spend. If you don't have, or if you have $100 to spend, then this little baby is a good option as well. Now, I did buy one of these. So full disclosure, I bought one of these microphones and then I returned it. The reason being is that I was doing some live streaming with it and I was getting some weird interference with the one that I had. Now, I don't think this is typical. I think I got a dodgy one, but when I returned it, I decided I'm going to actually step up and get the Shure instead. So that's when I swapped over to the Shure MV88. The good thing about this one though is you can see the difference is this one has a headphone jack on the side. So if you were doing recording and overdubbing, not only are you paying $50 less, but you're also getting a headphone jack. And I think if you weren't doing live streaming, so if you could turn off your wireless and not get the interference that I was getting, then it would be a really fine option, because the actual audio quality was great. And similar to the MV88, it had its own app. You could dial in the settings, you could change the stereo spectrum. It was all adjustable, and it was a very cool option. And in fact, it's a little bit more convenient because right on the front there, you can change some of the options. On the Shure, you have to do it all via the app on your phone or your iPad. With the Zoom, you can actually dial in right on the front there, dial in your input gain and dial in your settings, whether it's mid-side, 120 degrees, 90 degrees. So there's a bunch of options right there on there. So that is another thing that you can consider if you are looking for a quality microphone for your iPhone or your iPad. Small drinks break, and then we'll continue on. We're getting through it here. So yeah, if you're finding this valuable, if you're finding this useful, if you've learned something about microphones, even if you're not planning to go out and buy yourself an analog or a digital microphone for your iPhone, hopefully just having this understanding will help you out, because I think I've seen folks go out there and they'll go to eBay and they'll just go, oh wow, this looks like an amazing microphone, and then they're disappointed because it either doesn't work with their device, because it's a TRRS and needs to be TRRS, or it does work and it's just not good quality audio. So if you're buying something, if you're spending hard-earned cash to get something better for your iPhone or iPad, you want to make sure it is going to legitimately be better. Otherwise, stick with the built-in microphone on your device. There's nothing wrong with it. All right. Let's finish up, because you probably think I've showed you a couple of interfaces, so a couple of things that you can actually plug microphones into. But what if you do want to actually plug a multitude of different things? You want to have a really convenient device. Well, there's two things here. Number one is you can go for something like a USB microphone. And the reason I'm not going into these in detail is that I have a complete other video, which is linked down in the description. So when you're done with this one, if you want to go down this option, then check that one out. So to use a USB microphone, I have here the Samson Meteor, which is my favorite little USB mic. It's shiny and it's chromy. So this has a dial on the front there to dial in your gain. It's got a mute button there. It's got a headphone jack, and it plugs in via a mini USB connection cable, just like that one. And the thing is, when you're using a USB microphone, you'll need one of these. These are the Lightning to USB adapter. It used to be called the camera connection kit. So this will allow you to plug any USB device that's supported, that's class compliant. And I've got another video all about class compliance if you need to learn about that. But it'll plug your USB devices. Oh, and it helps if you don't throw them off your table. It'll plug your microphones directly in. So all you need to do is grab this, plug that in there, and then any USB devices, be they microphones or audio interfaces, which we'll talk about in a moment, can be plugged directly into your phone. The other thing is you can get devices like the iRig Pro HD. iRig Pro IO. So that's the one, as I mentioned, it's back there in the box that you can see there. This is one that I've been reviewing lately, and it's been impressing me because, again, it's not a cheap option, $150, but for $150 you get a high-quality microphone input, you get the ability to plug your guitar in, and you get MIDI input as well, and I've been testing this out through the week, and it is doing a really good job. You can see there, the picture there showing the flexibility of the iRig Pro IO. So if you wanted a simple plug-and-play interface that doesn't need something like this, like the Lightning to USB adapter, then that may be an option that you can go for because it's just simple plug-and-play. The other option is, and you'll see over there, I've got a few. I've got a Focusrite Scarlett 2R2, I've got a Behringer UM2, I've got a Steinberg UR12, is a USB audio interface. And I cover these in detail in yet another video, so go to the description if you want to check those out. A USB audio interface, again, you plug in via your Lightning to USB connection. You'll often need separate power, so you may need a powered USB hub, and I talk about those in that video as well. And then you can plug in an audio interface. So it's a little bit more to it. There's kind of 3 steps, 3 stages you need if you're using an interface, but the benefit is that you get really good audio quality. So you get a nice preamp, you can plug in any microphone, you get an instrument input jack, some of them even have MIDI input like the Steinberg UR22. So that's another way that you can go, is to use something like the iRig that's going to plug in via your Lightning port and then be able to let you plug microphones in, or you can switch it up and go with an actual audio interface if you're willing to get the Lightning to USB adapter as well. Oh, running out of voice today. All right, so there you go. There we are, right on 30 minutes. So yeah, that's everything and probably more that you wanted to know about Lightning connections, about 3.5mm jacks, the difference between TRRS and TRRS, the analog to digital options that you have, and from anywhere from $30, what we had here, the Audio-Technica lavalier mic, up to about $35 for something like your Tascam IXZ, right up to your premium spending, I've lost it now, your premium spending $150 to get something professional level, professional grade like the Shure MV88. There's kind of something for everyone. So regardless of what you're recording, what level you're at, there's going to be something that is going to help you out. So I hope you found all that useful. If you drop down into the description, or if you go to studiolivetoday.com/gear, you can check out my gear guide, which has all of my gear recommendations there, and all of these products are actually linked right down in the description as well, so you can check all of those out as well. Before we finish up here, I wanted to say a big thank you to everyone who's joined me here live. We'll just see if we've got any questions here as we scroll through. So Lama has a question. Is it possible to put a condenser mic in an iPhone or an iPad? Yes, it is, and you need phantom power. So when we talked before about something like this, the Tascam IXZ, you can see on the front here it has phantom power on off. So if you've got a condenser mic that you're plugging in, so if I wanted to plug this AT2020, I could use this, just turn on the phantom power and we're good to go. The same with things like the iRig Pro IO, also has a phantom power option. Turn that on, your condenser mics will work. If you're plugging directly in as a condenser mic, it needs to have its own battery. So the iRig mic that I showed you before is a condenser mic, and it does have its own built-in battery, which powers the phantom power because it goes in via the 3.5mm jack. So yes, short answer, yes, you can use a condenser. It just needs to have power either from the interface or from itself. Northern Lyric says, I use Rode with my interface on my iPad Pro, which is perfect. It's a great sound. Excellent, yes. The Rode, so when people say the Rode, they often mean the NT1A. I'm not sure if that's what you're using, but yes. Alex Cruz said, you could also use a Bluetooth microphone. You can, and you can use a Bluetooth headset. You can use a USB headset. There's a heap of other options you can explore. The thing I'll say about Bluetooth is they still haven't quite got the latency right. So it's still, if you're recording using a Bluetooth microphone and you're overdubbing, so you've recorded one track and then you're recording vocals, what you'll find is that there's a small delay, usually only, maybe 10, 20 milliseconds, or sometimes a lot more, but it's just enough to make it sound like you're not quite singing in time. And then when you play it back, it's not synced up and not aligned. So be careful with Bluetooth, any Bluetooth audio for playback or for recording. It can have problems. Alrighty, any other questions that we have? Barry Smith says, have you heard about the new Scarlett audio interface? And could I use Scarlett Focusrite and not the UR12? So yes, so there's two questions there, and I will answer them both here. So yes, the new Focusrite Scarlett 2i2, and I would go and get it, but I hate that when people get up and walk away from the microphone. But you can see it there, it's the red one. It's red, so it goes faster. I've got the Focusrite Scarlett 2i2, Generation 2. The Generation 3 has just been released, which has a couple of additional options. It's got a little air button that adds a little frequency boost in there, and it is USB-C compatible out of the box. So they're really the only main differences. So I guess if you were using an iPad Pro, like a new gen iPad Pro, it would be a good interface for you because you could plug in directly to USB-C. You wouldn't need any converters or adapters. So that's what I would suggest there. Your second question there: can you use a Steinberg? Can you use a Focusrite instead of a Steinberg? So yes, and it's a good question. I'm just grabbing a prop here because I'm going to grab my powered USB hub. So this is the essential piece of kit that you need if you're going to be using anything but a Steinberg interface, because the beauty of the Steinberg interface is that you can use a 5-volt power input, so you can just plug into a portable battery and then you're good to go. You don't need anything else. If you're using something that's relying on USB bus power, you'll need a powered USB hub like this, so you can plug this into your iPhone or your iPad and then plug all of your USB devices and plug it into power. And that way, there's the power, and that way you're actually powering up your devices, and you're not relying on your iPad or your iPhone, because it won't have enough power to run a full-on audio interface like a Scarlett 2i2 or a Behringer UM2 or any others. It's really only the Steinbergs that we can run without a powered USB hub. So hopefully that answered your question. I said Barry. So Barry says, what's the difference between GarageBand on the iPad versus the MacBook Pro laptop for GarageBand? A lot of things, probably too many to talk about in this video, but the iPad, obviously the iOS version, was sort of, they took the Mac version and then they pushed it onto this touchscreen device, and then they added a whole bunch of features because you have the ability to use the touchscreen. So the actual audio recording, like how you record a track and how you mix and all that sort of thing, is quite similar. How you actually get your sounds in if you're using the touchscreen can be quite different, and there's a few different things around how it works. So yeah, might be a good video for another day, going into all of that. Thomas Gellane, I don't know how you say your name, Thomas, sorry. Recently purchased an iRig mic and can't wait to test it out. Excellent. Alex Cruz says, what about Lightning microphones? This was a while ago. Hopefully, yes, hopefully we covered that. And there is a Lightning version of the iRig mic as well. So I think it's about $70. Let me check. I did have it up here. Okay, here it is, the HD2. So there is this version as well. Oh, it's $100. Sorry. So there is a Lightning version of the iRig mic, the HD2, which does the same sort of thing as the iRig mic, but again, it has that digital connection. So it's got its own mic, its own headphone jack on there, and it connects via your Lightning port. And you look like that. Hey, that dude looks kind of like a skinny me. Sorry, getting sidetracked. Yes, hopefully we went through some of the Lightning-based microphones, and that gave you an option. Alrighty, I think we have covered all of those. Solrak, it's Carlito, hello to you. Can I use a 4-channel interface into the iPhone or iPad using GarageBand, even if I just want to use one channel? Can I use a 4? Yes, so you can. So you can use, again, over there, I also have my Steinberg UR44 over there at the moment because I've swapped out to my mixer on my desktop here. So yes, you can use up to, I don't know, probably like up to 18 inputs. It really just comes down to the processing power of your iPhone or iPad as to how many inputs you can have. But yes, it will support multiple inputs. You can record 1, 2, 4, 6 channels at once, or as you say, you can just plug in and you can just plug in and go for it with just one channel. So yes, you can. You don't need to use all the channels all the time, and you don't have to queue up all your channels. You can just record on one. And can I use Focusrite for 4G channel interface into GarageBand? So I think we've probably covered that. So yes, you can. You just need to make sure you've got power, so you can power up your stuff. Alrighty, we are a little bit over time here, but I wanted to make sure we covered the questions and said hello to the folks that are here live. And I've got one question. What time is it there? It is 9:05 a.m. here. So, yes, I need to go and have another coffee and have some breakfast and then, start my day. So, thank you everyone for watching. If you did get some value out of this today, I'd love it if you hit the like button down below. That tells me that these are the sort of videos that you want to see. If you're watching on the replay, feel free to leave me a comment or let me know if you've got any questions, if you want some advice about which microphone to buy, what's going to work for you. I'd love to hear from you. Subscribe to the channel, and that will make sure that you're kept up to date with everything. And all of the links, all the products we talked about are right down in the description, so you can check those out. And you can go over to studiolivetoday.com for all of the rest of the information. Have a wonderful day, morning, evening, afternoon, folks, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.